Hello and welcome to another episode of the Newark Debater. My name is Malcolm Miner and I will be your host for today. Now, first things first, how are y'all doing? I know this has truly been the craziest year, but I've missed you all and I am so excited to be working through all of this with you together. Now, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up on all of the latest episodes of the Newark Debater. And if you have any questions or would like to be featured on the show, please contact us at the newarkdebater@gmail.com. Now, this episode will focus on using the skills and talents that you develop and learn as a debater into transferrable skills you can use in your college and your future career. Given the nature of this year, we will primarily be focused on tips and conversations with immediate application to your daily life. This pandemic forced society to halt. What did you do during quarantine? Some focused on finally getting to that book they never wrote. Others cleaned the parts of the house that they've always saved for later. Some started a podcast, and others just got some needed rest. Today, we will be speaking with Amit Kukreja, an entrepreneur, a former debater, Science High School alum, and Rutgers graduate to see what he's been up to. Currently, he's pursuing a career in content creation where he creates, directs, markets, and produces his own podcast and YouTube channel where he speaks on topics such as entrepreneurship, comedy, and philosophy. Now let's welcome Amit. There we go. There we go. Amit, what's going on?
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show, and let's get right into it, shall we?
Let's get into it.
So, Amit, tell us, where are you from?
So born in Newark, New Jersey, Beth Israel Hospital. Parents originally from India. They came here in 95, 96. I was born in 97. But yeah, American citizen, parents from India, and been in Jersey my whole life.
Wow, dope. Is there like, as I've learned, is there like an Indian community like in Newark, like tucked away?
Yeah, it's kind of like Indians, Pakistanis. It's like a bunch of us. Really, where I used to live was in Ivy Hill, which is like, people don't know a lot about it, but it's like in the West Ward, all the way to like the north of it. It's like this weird place outside of a lot of parts of Newark. But yeah, there's a lot of Indians down there, and there's a bunch of Indians in North Newark as well. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. That's really cool. So, tell us, you went to Science Park High School.
I did indeed.
What year did you graduate?
4 years ago, 2016. So I'm officially old.
Dope. Oh, trust me. Oh, I'm at 10 years. So you're getting there, sir. Don't worry. However, tell us, why did you debate?
Yeah, so I mean, my sister did debate in high school. She ended up doing really well, got some awesome results. So my parents wanted me to try it out. First couple years, I was really hesitant because I wanted to be playing in the NBA Finals tonight, so I went the basketball route. My height did not. I think it was only my height. Trust me, if it wasn't my height, I would be there in the NBA Finals tonight. But I just had other plans. So if I wasn't getting taller than 5'7", I had to quit that. So I did 2 years of basketball, tried it out, and then I just joined debate. And yeah, then it just started taking off from there. So basically, my sister had done a lot of debate. And so I had that sort of foundation from her. And then when I got into it, it was kind of a natural fit at that point.
Okay, cool. So we also debate for
She debated for University
well?
High School, which is like their sister school, basically, back in 2010.
Cool. Okay, I see. Oh, so that's more my generation of speech and debate people.
Yeah.
So I may know your sister. I don't know. We'll see. So tell us, well, before, like, as you were joining debate, how were you as a student while at science?
I was a pretty good student. Like I ended up, graduating with a good GPA and all that stuff. I mean, I've been a pretty good student my entire life, just in terms of education. My mom kind of stressed, like, you got to do your homework, you got to pay attention to your teachers, you got to care about that type of stuff. It's only when I got into college where I started not valuing traditional education as much as I did when I was growing up in high school and elementary school and stuff like that. But debate definitely enhanced me to become a better student for sure, and in college as well, just because all the critical thinking skills, all the reading comprehension, all the ability, like, your whole life is about making an argument and then selling that argument to an audience. And debate really teaches you how to do that. So whether it's an English class or in a math open-ended question, even if you don't know how to make the answer, you write a lot more sentences to try to justify the answer and just kind of figure out how to sell the argument.
That was me. That was me in like honors calc. Yes.
I know that regular calc. I still got a C+ in that in college, man. Like, it just didn't work out.
No, trust me. I agree. And I was a theater major, so that's how that happened. So tell us, what motivated you, I guess, to continue to invest your time and energy in getting better at debate once you started
it was science? Weird because I mean, I did really bad my sophomore year. I was trying to do it at basketball in the same time, so I went to a couple of tournaments and I lost pretty much every debate. So I went, my coach, Mr. Austin, at Science Park, sent me to a debate camp in the summer, my junior year, in University of North Texas. And for some reason at that debate camp, I started like getting into it a little bit more. Maybe it was my lab, maybe it was my instructors, but they really influenced me to care more about debate. And then for some reason, the topic came out in September of the start of my junior year, and it was August 28th. And I just decided I was going to do 50 pages worth of research. I don't know why, it randomly just hit me. I guess I got to the point where I was like, I need to commit to something now, and debate just seemed like the natural fit. So I did 50 pages of research. I emailed it to my coach, Mr. Austin, and immediately he saw that and he was like, you've got a lot of potential if you're willing in 24 hours to do that much research as soon as the topic comes out. So he then gave me some opportunities based upon that research to go out of state. And I think the first tournament he let me go to was Holy Cross Invitational in Louisiana. And to me, that was just the coolest thing, like leaving the state and going to debate for free, like just getting on a plane and actually like having that experience. And we had real Popeyes in Louisiana. So it was just like an awesome experience. And I was like, the more I keep doing well at these tournaments, the more opportunities I'll get to keep traveling. And traveling really seemed like it was cool. So that was the motivation. And then I started doing well when we traveled, and then my name started getting some more recognition in the community. And then I was like, maybe I could just go all in on this. And then I kind of just went all in on that one thing.
Wow. Okay. So to explain, because we do have a lot of viewers who are not, speech or debate people who probably do not understand some of our lingo. What specific categories did you?
So there's a bunch of different types of debates. It ultimately boils down to Lincoln Douglas, which is one person versus one person. And everything else. Everything else is like policy, public forum. These are two people or three people versus two or three people. So I did Lincoln Douglas, which was one versus one. They're named after the Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas debates. And those debates were happening around the time of slavery. So the questions was about the philosophical and moral precedences for those things going on right now. They were debating whether it was ethical or not. So every topic that we debated in Lincoln Douglas stemmed from a moral or philosophical underlying assumption. And then after that, you had a debate over whatever topic it was. So I did Lincoln Douglas debate, which was one versus one, which means if you lose, you can't blame it on your partner, you can't blame it on your coach. It's just you versus the other person. It's who can convince the judge better. And usually they were about like moral and philosophical topics.
Okay. So talk to us a little bit, Amit, about your relationship with your coach from high school.
Yeah, Mr. Austin is the man. He's I had a bunch of coaches. I had Mr. Austin, I had Christopher Randall, who's one of the assistant coaches, and then all the alumni. Because when I was a junior, we had 3 alumni: Sunhee, Christian, and Atagoke. People who are regular watchers of the show may know them. They also graduated from science, and when I was a junior, they were seniors. They had the best year in like Newark debate history. I mean, like crazy results. They were winning every single tournament they went through. And that was really motivating me as well, just to see them get these types of big results. So when I became a senior, they always, brought back a lot of love and helped me and coached me during my senior year. But Mr. Austin was my main coach, and, I have a really good relationship with him. We went through a lot of battles together. We weren't always successful, but he always gave me his all. He always saw that I had potential, and he was never afraid to let me just be myself and like think for myself and let my ideas run wild. He just gave me a lot of opportunities, I think that's the best thing you can have from a coach is a coach should not try to live through their student, which is what I see a lot of times in debate, whereas like the coach is imposing their beliefs on the student, but rather they give them a framework and then the student ends up coming up with their own abilities and own thoughts about a certain topic or a certain way that they have in debate. So Mr. Austin just gave me a lot of that freedom, and then I took a lot of those opportunities, and we ended up getting some good results.
Wow. So really, what I'm hearing you say, really like a community vibe, really, when it comes, or a family, really, if you would say, through Mr. Austin and Mr. Randall and everybody, all the alums all together.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Newark debate so like enriching. It's just like the Rutgers alumni that are super successful in debate always come back and help the kids in school. Alumni from previous years always like message you on Facebook and ask you if you need any help. Like I've helped a bunch of kids over the past 4 years, even though I wasn't directly hired as a Newark Science coach, just because I want to see them win and I want to see them do well. And there's not really a motive that is individualistic. It's always like if Newark debate does well, then we feel good, right? Not even science debate, but just like kids from Newark doing well. One of my goals, actually, so I mean, we might talk about this later, but I'm going down the entrepreneurship route. I'm trying to build my own company, trying to make a lot of money, not because I'm motivated by the money, but because I'm motivated by a lot of the freedom and opportunities the money brings. And one of my biggest things, and I told Mr. Austin this, so I can say it publicly, is if I end up making that much money, like you're talking in the millions, if that happens 20, 30 years from now, I really do want to give an endowment to the NDA. Right, because like a lot of times when I was a senior in high school, I know we had our budget sometimes under suspicion of being canceled. Now we have a much more friendly superintendent. Shout out to Mr. Leone. So we might not have that problem in the future, but who knows, right? There were a lot of moments where like we might not have been able to funding, and the kids from Newark, we don't have that much money to like pay for going to these fancy tournaments on these airplanes and hotels and stuff like that. So I want to be able to give like a big endowment where the money can just sit in a bank or sit in like a stock market and just compound year after year after year to the point where we never have to worry to the state or the district for funding. So that inspiration comes from the motivation of how community oriented this whole thing is, and just wanting to know that the legacy that I leave behind should not be the trophies, but it should be like the actual foundation based upon other people's opportunities that they have given to me that I can do for the next generation of Newark debaters, So that would be a really, really cool thing I could do, but that only comes from the fact that it's community-based.
Wow, I mean, that's beautiful.
It would be cool.
That's really amazing.
Be a super cool thing to do, because so many people in Newark history have given back, not necessarily financially, but through their own sacrifices, right? A lot of people who know the NDA know that we make arguments about race, make arguments about social justice and things that really matter. And I didn't even know about what critical race theory was or any of these unique concepts until I got into Newark debate, where I was educated upon that stuff, right? So being educated upon that means that you have to actually do something with that knowledge and with that information. And a lot of the kids who debated in the 90s and the 2000s, before the 2010s, 2015s, where me and my generation came up, they did not win the arguments about race that they were doing in front of judges because those arguments were new, particularly in Lincoln Douglas. Lincoln Douglas had primarily been all philosophers from European descent. So once kids started reading arguments about race and social justice and critical theory and issues like that, they would lose those arguments because judges weren't accustomed to those. So the losses they took,
Mm-hmm.
like going 0-6 at a tournament that they took in 2003, 2004, 0-6 means 0 wins, 6 losses, was the exact reason I was able to go 6-0 on those same arguments and have 6 wins and 0 losses by the time I got to be good at debate. So they sacrificed a lot already, you know, a lot of the previous generation. So now for me, it's like, I want to see if I can give back something even more material than just losing in debates, but something that sets up a real big foundation.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's talk about your transition over. Was, I guess, Rutgers debate on the list of where you wanted to go or where you wanted to take your skills next to, or were there other contenders?
So I didn't debate in Rutgers. I went to Rutgers, New Brunswick, so they didn't have the policy debate team. Rutgers and Newark has that team. But I was kind of adamant about not debating in college at all. I really wanted to just like enjoy college and not do debate. No, man, I wanted to go to Harvard and their people, whatever you like to call them, waitlisted me, and then they rejected me, and I was like, oh, being waitlisted is the worst, because they're like, you're kind of good, we're gonna look at you, but then we're just not good.
Yes.
Um,
exactly.
Yeah, for me it was either the Ivy Leagues or Rutgers, because I wasn't gonna pay the same amount of money for an Ivy League for like Emory or something. Emory's a great school, but it's not like an Ivy League, right? So I got rejected from all the Ivy Leagues, so Rutgers was the only option. So I ended up going to Rutgers, and I don't regret it. I had a really, really good time on Rutgers. I think it put a lot of chips on my shoulder in terms of stuff I wanted to prove. But yeah, I didn't debate in college. I just tried to enjoy college. I coached a lot in college. I coached like at least 50 to 100 kids over the past 4 years. So that's kind of where I took debate in college.
Where did you have time? 50 to 100?
You know,
were you doing camps and things, or like?
No, I mean, I had developed such a name for myself by the end of my senior year that there was a lot of people privately who just wanted to hire me as a coach because they had seen my name. So a lot of people kept asking, and I just kept saying, okay. Now the question you're asking is about how did you have time to keep saying okay? I think a lot of people in colleges don't realize they have a lot of time. Like at most you're taking 5 classes throughout the week, maybe 2 a day, 1 a day. Sometimes you take 4 in 2 days and then you have 3 days off. I think people have so much time in college that people don't realize. So I really took advantage of every hour I had in college, because not only was it good side income that I could use to help pay off college and expenses and Starbucks and all that stuff, but it was also just like I felt like I was building a reputation, which was super exciting to me, because I couldn't just go to class and then come back to the dorm. Like I wanted to make sure something was happening on the side. I didn't just want it to be about college. Like I guess that's just me. Like even in my current life, I have 4 or 5 different projects I'm working on throughout the entire day. It's hard to just be focused on one thing. So I was just motivated by the fact that, it's something to do and there's more stuff to gain out of it, and there's more of a reputation to build from getting good results.
So how was that transition from being a debater to being a coach or mentor for you?
Well, it was mainly because as a debater, you step into the ring and you control your destiny. As a coach, you help someone construct their destiny, but you ultimately can't do anything for them. So my first year in coaching was really successful. I mean, I had a lot of kids just win a lot of tournaments. I was blessed to get some really good talent my first year as well, so it was easy to kind of mold it. But it was interesting because like you start to sort of like try to do the best you can do as a coach and then see what your debater does, and you start to notice you rub off on your debater. So it was really cool because you would see your debater say things that you had said just a couple months prior in your last couple of tournaments, or act in the same way you act, and that felt really cool, right? Because you're having a direct impact on this person and they're winning as a result of your help. But also then they're developing their own style, their own persona, their own confidence, their own ego, and you have to manage that. Because I remember one kid I was coaching got so good that they stopped kind of listening to me when I said certain things, and then they started losing a little bit. So it's like it really was the transition of becoming someone who is in the ring to someone who's helping someone in the ring, and it's hard just to manage personalities when you're doing that. But it was a really cool thing in terms of just being able to help other people do well in debate.
So then, what would you say is one of the biggest things being a coach has taught you?
How to have emotional intelligence when dealing with other people. Because like emotional intelligence, I think, is a skill you learn throughout the course of your life, but particularly when you are mentoring somebody and you are saying, if you do this, this will happen. And then you need to get them to believe in the vision of buying into doing this. So for example, if I was coaching a kid, I would say, look, I'm going to work with you on Monday from 8 to 9 o'clock. But if you don't practice what we worked on from 8 to 9 on Tuesday and Thursday on 2 other days during the week, you're not going to get the results. Like, you can't just expect every Monday for us to meet over Zoom and do some debate stuff, and then you get no results. So it was about getting them to really believe in that vision. But to do that, you have to know how to motivate them, or how to inspire them, or how to get them to believe in certain things. Maybe you have to use fear as a tactic sometimes, right? Maybe this person is really afraid of what other people think. So you have to say, well, other people are really not going to judge you well in debate if they see that you have a private coach and you're not even like living up to any results, or you're not getting any results. And the reason you're not getting any results is not because you're not good at debate. It's because outside of the private coaching, you're not taking that and doing something with the knowledge that you're given, because you're only relying on an hour a week to make you a good debater. So it was finding all the problems with this person and all the good stuff with this person, and trying to balance that and figuring out, how do I get this person to actually become the best version of themselves? One of the kids I was coaching my junior year, I had met him at a summer camp in debate. And we really vibed in that summer camp. Like, we were talking, we were doing really well. And he ended up hiring me as a private coach. So it was a great relationship. And this kid's school had never won a championship at a tournament, had never got to like the octafinals, quarterfinals, semifinals, finals of a tournament. And they had never received a bid. And a bid is, you need 2 of them to qualify for the Tournament of Champions in debate, in any format of debate. So his school had never gotten even 1 bid. And the way to get to a bid is you have to get to a certain level, whether it's quarters, semis, finals, deep in the tournament to get a bid. And then the debate community recognizes that you have a bid, you get 2 of them, then you get invited to the most prestigious tournament in April in Lexington, Kentucky. Only 80 debaters across the country qualify for it, because it's really hard to get 2 bids. So me and this kid start working in the summer. September, we have 1 tournament, it goes all right. October, we have 1 tournament, it goes all right. No real results, don't get the bid. And then November, we have the Princeton Invitational. Now, I go to Rutgers. Rutgers is a 15-minute train ride from the Princeton Invitational. So the kid asked me, hey, can you come to the Princeton Invitational to help coach me? And I knew I was able to come, but I said no, because I wanted to surprise them at the tournament. So I said, no, I can't come. I have a college exam coming up. I'm really sorry. I hope you do well, though. And they were like, all right, it's whatever, right? Like, you can't argue with a college final. So while they're debating, I purposely go in and I open the door while they're debating, and he sees me while I walk in, and I'll never forget his face. He's just like, while he's arguing, he's still trying to give the speech, and he just sees his coach walk in. And the reason I did that is because really, I just thought it would be a cool experience to like have this kid work really hard, knowing that his coach would not be at the tournament, knowing he couldn't rely on me as a crutch to do well in debate, having him have that expectation, and then just surprising them and then coming there. And that kid ended up winning the entire Princeton Invitational, the entire championship, and he got a bid to qualify to the Tournament of Champions. And it was an amazing experience, because he went from having no coach at the tournament to having a coach to now winning every single debate, getting through doubles, octos, quarters, semis, and he won finals on a 4-1 decision on a 5-judge panel. And the whole thing is, I knew how he was as a person. I knew his emotional intelligence. I had some understanding of how he would react to certain situations, which is why I planned that whole scenario, and it ended up resulting in a championship for him and his school. So those are the moments I really remember that was just like moments where I think I was intelligent enough to recognize certain instances and then take advantage of them at the right time.
Wow. And what year was that he won the Princeton?
This was 2018. This was November 2018, or like November 30th going into December. Yeah, it was a really awesome experience.
Nice. I'm trying to like remember if I was there that year. I might have been there at that. I might have been there that year at Princeton. Wow. Well, awesome. That's like, I love that. So we're gonna shift gears a little bit. Everyone loves to throw around the phrase, transferable skills, right? But how would you recommend that debaters transfer their skills of like advocacy to prepare for a career in something they're passionate about in the real world?
Yeah, so I think this is a deeply philosophical question, because the advocacy skills you get from debate mean absolutely nothing if you are not passionate about something and you have something worth advocating for. Like, it's kind of like math, right? Like math is, or chemistry. Like, everyone takes chemistry, but if you're not going to become a chemist, it's just like not that transferable. It's not that meaningful. Now, advocacy skills is not like chemistry. Advocacy skills, everyone has to advocate for something at one point. You want to raise from your boss, you have to advocate for yourself. You want to go on a date with someone, you have to advocate and market yourself to that person to get that date. I think it comes from really understanding, what do you want to get out of the things you are advocating for? And for me, I think I have a like a decent enough vision of that, because in college I just thought for 4 years, right? I didn't do a lot of stuff other than deeply thinking, and I really mean that. I think a lot of kids in college, if anyone's watching, have to think, because colleges want to bombard you with like applying for internships and jobs and all stuff, and that's all great. That's their job, and it makes their numbers look well when they say 92% of their graduates got a job. But that's the point, that they just want to get their numbers to look well. You have to ask yourself some deeper philosophical questions about what the hell do you want from this experience. So the 4 years that I spent in college, I really started to have more of a, I know it's going to sound probably weird, but like an existential crisis. And what I mean by that is I started recognizing that I was going to die, right? I started confronting the nature of my own mortality. And this is kind of like a philosophical thesis that I've been really working on over the past couple of years. My friends probably think I'm crazy for always talking about this, but I really am not motivated by anything other than the fact that I'm going to die. Like, my only motivation in life is the fact that there is a beginning, there is an end, and that end is such, I can't even conceptualize the end. Like, imagine one day I will not be able to have a conversation. Imagine one day I will not be able to eat chocolate chip cookies. Like, I can't even conceptualize that end, and that lack of being able to grapple with the fact that life is going to be over motivates the fact that you have this finite amount of time in the middle to do something meaningful. And I think when you're motivated by your mortality now, you start to ask yourself more deeper questions about what you want to get out of this existence. Because it can go two ways. Either A, you're like, oh, I'm going to die. I need to do something so that this whole day, this whole life thing was worth it. It meant something. Or it goes the other route, which is like, I'm going to die, so nothing really matters. What's the point of me doing anything? Like, if I'm going to die, it's going to be all over. And I think a lot of people throughout the history of life, and not even for their own reasons, have picked the latter, because life is rough and life is hard, and 2020 has shown that so many external circumstances can make you feel like nothing matters. To even decide that your life is valuable enough to pursue something that is meaningful enough, that wakes you up every morning and gets you excited for the day, when a majority of the world, not even for their own fault, is not excited to live another day, is one of the most meaningful, rebellious things you can do in the context of your existence. So once you come to that conclusion, and that's really what I did over the 4 years of college, then it's a question of like, oh, okay, I'm picking the first door. I'm not going down the door that says nothing matters. I'm picking the door that says everything matters. Now I have to figure out what I want to advocate in that door that I picked. And that's where you have to start asking yourself, what do I like? What do I care about? Like, you know, what do I want to get out of this life? But that's where I think the transferable skills come in, because once you sort of figure that out, you start advocating for that.